Hello everyone, it's the weekend. Welcome to United Insurance's Line and Length. I'm Barry Wilkinson. With me is Andrew Seeley. It's the cricket program where we look at the sport not only in the region but internationally as well. So much has happened over the last week in our cricket. And Andrew, you look at the top three things I would have to say where West Indies cricket is concerned and where West Indians are concerned is the incident with Kieron Pollard and Mitchell Starc. Was that a fair goal? You also look at the fact that the WICB and USACA are now in a partnership. And you also must discuss the West Indies captain. It has not been confirmed up until now.
The West Indies captaincy.
The West Indies captaincy. That's a much better term. It has not been confirmed up until now, but of course we're recording before the start of the weekend. But we understand that Dinesh Ramdin is the new Test captain for the West Indies, taking over from Darren Sammy, who has been dropped by his franchise, the Sunrisers Hyderabad, in the last game of the IPL. So much to discuss.
Well, certainly, Barry, if we talk about Ramdin, first of all, I think one could say it's been a long time in coming. We have been hearing for the last 4 to 5 years that Dinesh Ramdin will be the next West Indies captain. So it's no real surprise to me if the selectors have finally answered the call of the Caribbean. Ramdin has been primed for leadership, has led at all levels. On the 15, on the 19, he was thrust into the captaincy of the Trinidad national team quite early. So if he now is expected to lead, it would be no surprise.
All right, so we're going to discuss that, and we also will talk with none other than Mia Mottley. She gave a fantastic, I wouldn't say lecture, but she was a guest on a very popular talk show called Mason and Guest, which is led by cricket commentator Andrew Mason, and she spoke so eloquently and gave some very intelligent analysis on West Indies cricket, and also some ideas you can say that were for free. So we're going to hear from the Honourable Mia Mottley, who's the leader of the opposition here in Barbados. All this and more, plus an eye on the IPL when we come back right here on United Insurance's Line and Length.
When you are insured with United Insurance, you know you're in safe hands because our AM Best Excellent rating means that we have the financial strength and stability to protect your prized possessions. Rely on the company that understands your needs for property, motor, business, and marine insurance. For all your general insurance needs, choose United Insurance.
Welcome back to United Insurance's Line and Length. It's been a very hectic week. We understand that the captaincy of the West Indies team is the hottest topic that was discussed, of course, at the last board meeting. Recommendations suggest that Dinesh Ramdin should take over from Darren Sammy, but we're waiting to get that confirmed. However, as we do have a pretty strong lead on that particular story, it seems to me that the selectors have listened to what the public have been outpouring in terms of how poorly the West Indies played in India and New Zealand. I think those two last series were the straws that broke the camel's back.
Well, certainly, it's clear that those straws broke the camel's back. But if we go back and we say that all is forgiven with Ramdin now and Sir Vivian Richards, so if we take it from there, Ramdin, I think, has proven himself over the past 6 to 8 months that he is the finest wicketkeeper batsman in the Caribbean. No disputing. He's possibly the best captain in the Caribbean as well. Darren Sammy has been given a job to do for 2.5 years. I think he did the job, but now we need to move on to find the best combination for the West Indies team to do well in Test cricket, because we are still Test cricket people.
You look at the fact that Dinesh Ramdin does not come to the fore as a spring chicken where captaincy is concerned. He captained the West Indies under 15s way back.
Cost cutter under 15s. Imagine the cost cutter under 15.
Yeah, on the 19s, he's captained Trinidad and Tobago. He has very good leadership experience and has good leadership pedigree. There was a time in his career, I think when he was about 24, 25, where he fell off the boil in terms of his consistency. In the last, you said 6 to 8 months, I would say the last year, he has been very consistent. He has commanded a place in the team, and as a captain, he is well able to do the job. At least he has done so for Trinidad and Tobago. The question I have is, what does this hold for Darren Sammy? Will they still play Darren Sammy in the Test team? And if they do, what will be his role? Because his bowling has gone off the ball, unfortunately for him.
Well, certainly that's a very good question, because Dwayne Bravo sat with us and suggested that he's ready to play Test cricket. And I think we have all agreed that it is not possible to have Dwayne Bravo and Darren Sammy in the same 11 in a Test match. So it should be very interesting. Perhaps the poignant point at the moment is that Bravo may not be fit for New Zealand in early June, so Sammy may still be around. But I think it would be extremely difficult if we look at the combination, if we intend to play 3 genuine fast bowlers and a spinner. There's no room for Sammy, because in my estimation, Dinesh Ramdin will have to bat at 7. So if we were to pick an 11, I understand the selectors have picked a squad of about 18, and I'm going to drop something here to you, Barry, now. My understanding is that a long, lean one from Barbados is back in the selectors' fold. Someone called Sulman Ben. That's the word I've gotten. I haven't seen the squad, but the word I've got is that Ben is back.
Well, let me say this to you. You're a Spartan man on the local
that's
scene,
right.
so you would know that information. But I wouldn't be surprised if Sulman Ben is brought back, because we heard on the same program the captain of the one-day team, Dwayne Bravo, saying that he wants Sulman Ben back in the fold. I wouldn't be surprised. He's bowled well.
He's done very
all
well.
might be forgiven for that dreadful 2011 Cricket World Cup back in when they had the situation. I think it was in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, where there was some infighting in the team and some
aggro. But clearly, if we are looking to pick the best possible team, Sulman Ben has performed outstandingly over the last year and a half. He's done nothing wrong. He's done everything for Barbados. Barbados won the regional 4 there, although we're not sure if it's the Heady and Weeks or the President's Trophy. The president of the Jamaica Cricket Association says he wants an explanation. I don't know who will explain it to him, because he's a director of WICB, so he's asking himself to explain it, but that's another issue. Ben has done very well in the regional 4. He's done very well in the T20, so he certainly should be back. And to me, a combination of 3 spinners in Narain, Shillingford and Ben, with possibly Nikita Miller to help to assist in the backup. These are the 4 best spinners in the Caribbean.
Well, perhaps by this time Saturday night the team might have been announced, and what we are discussing won't be conjecture but reality or mood. No, we want to move on to one of the hottest things that happened this week. It was that ugly situation with Kieron Pollard and Mitchell Starc. You look back at it, a bouncer is what started, I would say, the chatter. He had a bouncer. Mitchell Starc gave him a pretty good short ball, and he threw some chat at him. Pollard said, look, go back to your mark. We don't want to hear you.
You're the bowler, go and bowl.
You're the bowler, go and bowl. And right after that, he wasn't ready to face. He pulled away, ran into bowl, and Pollard threw the bat, or he attempted to throw the bat, and it slipped. Alan Wilkins didn't like it at all. The commentator Alan Wilkins was all against what happened. He said this is ugly. First of all, Andrew Saylor, before we discuss the punishments being leveled out to the 2 men, what was your take on what happened?
I'm not sure, but you do know that the West Indies versus Australia scenario exists at the moment, and I suspect that this has been carried on from the World T20. Pollard wasn't there, of course, but certainly that James Faulkner, there's been so much aggro, and to me it was a little surprising, because the IPL T20, we've not seen that kind of behavior, because they all speak about how friendly and how well the players gel together, but obviously something must have happened. We don't have the benefit of hearing the sound from actually on the pitch, but clearly something happened out there. You didn't want to mention the punishment. I see Ravi Shastri suggesting that a double penalty and impose a ban if repeated to both Pollard and Starc. But the question is, why was Pollard penalized greater than Starc? That's the big question.
75% was Pollard, 50% was Starc. I think that it was unfair based on what happened. I mean,
and based on what we saw, clearly there should have been a double fine of a similar
50%
amount. Similar amount.
Should have been.
Similar amount.
I don't think that was fair.
You know, the Barbadians on the street, they've been saying that, why y'all don't talk about that? What's wrong? What did Pollard do that was wrong, and what did Starc do that was right?
Well, what are your thoughts? Send us your emails to cricket@lineandlength.net. We'll love to hear it. We move on. Topic number 3, hot in West Indies cricket. The West Indies Cricket Board and the USACA, which of course is the United States Cricket Association, have announced a joint partnership. Now, USACA, they've had their problems. They've had some resignations recently, especially, of course, from one of the 4 members just resigned.
And the CEO.
And the CEO.
And the director of cricket has also resigned.
But now they're going to be partnership. There's going to be a partnership with them and the WICB. The board, in a release, said in a move designed to open up more high-performance cricket opportunities for United States players and accelerate cricket development in the USA, the WICB and USACA today announced a long-term joint partnership. How do you view that?
I'm very disappointed with it, Barry, because I must tell you, I think the USACA is a totally dysfunctional organization. And I am very, very surprised that WICB at this stage would seek to get into bed, literally, with an organization that is as dysfunctional. An organization that has spawned two other organizations that have perhaps the majority of real cricket in the United States now are playing outside of USACA. In fact, the USACA at this stage, were it not for so much happening to the ICC, would probably be suspended by the ICC shortly. What this has done now, it means that the ICC won't suspend USACA because they would say WICB is looking after USACA at the moment. I think what should have happened is that WICB should have looked to have taken over cricket in North America.
Wow.
This would be the opportunity.
Isn't this perhaps the first move to do that?
It probably is, and if it is, then we have to applaud WICB for taking a proactive step. But certainly what we have heard about Gladstone, Dainty, and USACA, I mean, that you have never heard anything good about Gladstone, Dainty. And United States cricket has gone downhill steadily over the last 5 years.
But you haven't heard anything good about him at USACA.
No, exactly. I mean, the United States team certainly has not done very well. They're now at the lower end of the World Cricket League, Division 6, I believe.
Well, one of the main problems I understand with to make the United States cricket team is that you have to be regularized. You either have to have a green card or an American passport. So a lot of West Indians, Pakistanis, Indians who perhaps migrate over there that might not be in a legal position yet are not allowed to play. So when you pick a USA team, you're not necessarily picking the strongest side from what is available, but from what is allowed or what is legal. So you're not getting a strong team coming out of the USA, and I think that's the first thing that you need to regularize. What is the criteria that you need to play for the USA? Perhaps the WICB might be trying to get that made a bit more clearer, but we wait to see. All right, when we come back on United Insurance's Line and Length, Mia Mottley, the opposition leader of Barbados, very intelligent lady. She's an attorney and she's doing a fantastic job. We're going to hear from her. She was on a very popular talk show called Mason and Guest here in Barbados, and she had some fantastic thoughts and ideas. When we come back on United Insurance's Line and Length.
When you are insured with United Insurance, you know what it feels like to feel this safe. Choose the financially strong regional insurance company with the strength and stability to protect your prized possessions. For property, motor, business, and marine insurance, you're in safe hands with United Insurance.
Welcome back. Well, they say that politics and cricket don't mix, but this last Tuesday, we heard from Mia Mottley, who was the opposition leader in Barbados with the Barbados Labour Party. And she's been speaking on a cricket talk show called Mason and Guest about some ideas that she has for the game of cricket. Now, she's been an avid follower, like she admitted, from the time she was about 10 years old. And now she has been speaking, giving the West Indies Cricket Board some ideas of how to get the game going again after it has fallen back somewhat.
ICC is a cartel. That's what it is. It's a cartel. We had a right to get in that cartel in 1926, as I said. We have a responsibility for North America. We have a responsibility for South America. We have a responsibility for the Caribbean. Why have we not put in place? And as I said, a lot of good has happened, particularly with the West Indies Cricket Board reforms and the Patterson Committee on Governance, for which and Sir Alistair McIntyre and others. Good work in the Barbados Cricket Association, but you can't rest on your laurels. Why are we not putting in place at this stage a dedicated blue ribbon committee to be able to bring up to speed Canada, the United States of America, and all of the Latin American countries? Because as long as Latinos spend more time in the United States of America and mix with Commonwealth citizens in the USA, it's only a matter of time before cricket becomes a game that they too embrace, and especially with the 2020 version, which is broadcast friendly. As long as that happens, the opportunities are going to grow exponentially. I believe that the West Indies Cricket Board needs to have a separate entity who focuses on nothing else, but the development and exploitation of cricketing opportunities in North and South America, and that recognize that when we get them to where we want to get them, they too will eventually make a case for them to have their own territorial administration within the ICC. But let us leverage it for what it is worth. There are 35, 36 countries in the Americas. Let us leverage it for what it is worth over the next 15, 20 years and ensure that in that we can get a revenue stream coming back to secure us in the medium term, 40, 50 years from now. Unless you plan out the administration of the game in this context and leverage the benefit of the cartel, which we have had now for 88 years. One day you're going to wake up and find you no longer have the opportunity to exploit that benefit. The conduct of the commerce of cricket is equally coming from persons who operate within the commerce of the country. And I think that the same way, as I said, that we recognize that as a country we've been operating on fumes, we need also to recognize that in cricket we have been. The notion that the West Indies Cricket Board will make money only when we have a tour to India is something that is unacceptable to me, Dave, Andrew. Why are we not moving to the next level? And let's look back at the structure. The structure of the West Indies Cricket Board of Control as first established. And even with this revised structure that they took, modifying what the Patterson report tried to put in place, is still a structure that is geared towards administration and regulation. What is needed is West Indies Cricket Inc. West Indies Cricket Inc. must be a public company in which any and every Caribbean person can own shares. West Indies Cricket Inc. should be traded on every stock exchange in the region: Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, OECS, New York, Toronto, London. West Indies Cricket Inc. should immediately seek to float 20 million shares at $2 apiece, so as to give you or 25 million, to give you a good capital base. Suppose you did 25 million at $2 a piece. That's 50 million US. That allows you to invest that money and do as we did with the Caribbean Court of Justice. When I chaired the preparatory committee to establish the Caribbean Court of Justice, we raised sufficient money and put it in a trust fund in order to be able to run the court from the income of the trust fund. That income from that capitalization, or a large part of that capitalization, if invested, the income from that would go a large way towards the running of your regional competitions as well as your development in cricket, which I'm told that you need about 5 million US a year to do that. So if you don't get full 4 or 5, because 8% at 100 million Barbados is about 4 million US, 8 million Barbados a year. In which case you only then have to supplement very minimally the additional sums that you need to carry out that development work and the regional competitions. Apart from giving Caribbean people the opportunity to own the game which they love, to own the game which they feel strongly about, what it does is to give us a large sum of money that allows us to also be able to do the things that we have to do in order to be able to get the returns in the medium term to keep cricket sustainable, revenue from cricket sustainable. Now, what would West Indies Cricket Inc. do? West Indies Cricket Inc. would hire the players. West Indies Cricket Inc. would deal with all of the commercial operations, the broadcast rights, the running of the games. With hope, and I hope very soon, I want to see, I cannot understand why in the second decade of the 21st century we do not have a regional professional first class tournament of cricketers. You need 6-8 teams. You don't need, and I would not do them according to nationality, I would do them according to franchises, so you get a mixture of nationalities in each team to ensure a balance and strength among the teams. Because of a highly packed cricketing calendar, you probably can't do it for more than 8 to 10 weeks a year. But I would cap the number of Caribbean players at 65 or 70%, because you need to bring in 30% overseas players minimum in order to be able to get the broadcast rights revenue coming back in to sustain the viability of the tournament.
When you are insured with United Insurance, you know you're in safe hands because our AM Best Excellent rating means that we have the financial strength and stability to protect your prized possessions. Rely on the company that understands your needs for property, motor, business, and marine insurance. For all your general insurance needs, choose United Insurance.
Welcome back for our final segment, Eye on the IPL. And when you talk about the IPL, you have to start with Glenn Maxwell. He's been doing superbly well for the Kings 11 Punjab. I think the Mumbai Indians must really be crying tears to not only let go Glenn Maxwell, but not making the most of him last year after buying him for $1 million.
Well, certainly the Australians are probably the happiest team in the world at the moment. Glenn Maxwell has proven himself to be the ultimate T20 player. 90 runs in just over 40 balls, propelling the Punjab team to 232 in 20 overs, an unbelievable score. And in response, 180 something, which would have been a winning score in any other game except a game with Glenn Maxwell.
But at one stage, he has 390s now. At one stage, I thought he was not going to stop scoring runs. I just thought it was a burst pipe that could not get fixed. It was unbelievable batting from Glenn Maxwell, and I thought he had the innings of the week. We move on from Maxwell, we stick with another Australian, and we talk about Shane Watson. He had the spell of the week. He had a hat-trick, although it was in losing cause because the Sunrisers defended that total very well on Thursday. Despite that hat-trick from Watson, they went under. But well done, Watson picking up a hat-trick. We look at the West Indians. The number one West Indian continues to be Dwayne Ramel Smith. Still in very good form, but in that clash, in that top head-to-head clash, that was when I would have loved to see Dwayne Smith score 100. But you can't take away from what he has done so far. He's been beautiful. Second leading run scorer.
In a chase of 232, it was critical that Dwayne Smith got off. Yes. And unfortunately, that's the one time he failed. And I mean, obviously disappointing for all West Indians. The Mumbai Indians, in fact, their decision makers appear not to be the best. They picked Glenn Maxwell, never utilized him. Dwayne Smith, the champion from 2013, they let him go, didn't hold on to him. Now he's proven himself for the Chennai Super Kings. In fact, the dynamite opening partnership between Dwayne Smith and Brendan McCullum, and we need to speak about McCullum because Smith and McCullum are the ultimate opening pair in T20 cricket.
Yeah, they are. They're doing pretty well for Chennai Super Kings, who up until Friday were second in the standings. Kings 11 taking back over that spot. The West Indians that have not been doing as expected. Chris Gayle still not looking 100% fit. Was beginning to shape up. He had a mini cameo. 28 runs he scored in 1 over when the Royal Challengers Bangalore met the Mumbai Indians. You look at some of the shots. Typical explosive Chris Gayle, and even some authentic shots. He was looking good, but just was unable to carry on for that big total that we know he's accustomed. I mean, he made 175 in 1 innings last year. All told, he's struggling to get consistently good scores.
But it looks to me, as you mentioned, Barry, that clearly Chris is not fully fit.
No.
We see him every now and then touching his knee. So clearly there's some issues for him, and we're certainly hoping that by June he'll be ready for some Test cricket. But if you look at Sunil Narine, first time he went for a few runs in an innings, I think he bowled 4 overs for 36 runs, probably his worst bowling spell, but he's still up there, still has the most wickets, or the second most wickets in the IPL,
has the most.
In the IPL. But apart from them, the other West Indians are not really involved. Andre Russell had 1 game, but the others are not involved. We have too many passengers in India.
Yes, Samuel Babji not getting the opportunity to play. Santoki not getting the opportunity to play. Ravi Rampal,
Jason Holder,
Kevin
Cooper.
And
Cooper, I mean, it's a little surprising that Cooper has not played, because when he has played, he has done well, and he's not been able to break into the 11. So the passengers are many in India.
Don't forget, 4 players now from overseas only in the team, so that's perhaps what's hampering them. You also have to say that Darren Sammy, I just wonder, I know Darren Sammy very well, he's a man after my own heart. I'm wondering if he's taking on what might be happening back home
in the Caribbean.
Back here in the Caribbean, with him perhaps losing the captaincy of the West Indies team. He's lost his place to the Sunrisers. The first time really he has been dropped, and I'm just a bit concerned about him bouncing back
Yeah, but mentally, and they've always said that the Sunrisers Hyderabad, that Darren Sammy is the ultimate cheerleader and he leads the team. And when I saw Moses Enriquez playing today instead of Sammy, it said to me that Sammy has really fallen well down on the totem pole. And so they to get back into that Sunrisers Hyderabad team will be a challenge for Darren Sammy. There's no cricket in between for any team, so they said the selectors actually just pick really, I guess, based on luck and chance, one might have to say. And if you lose your player and the player comes in and does well, there's very little chance of you getting back in.
Indeed. Well, we wait to see. Well, that has been our look. And the eye on the IPL, of course, we had some interesting things to discuss. Continue to send us your emails, cricket@lineandlength.net. Special hello to all of our fans there watching in Dominica. I was in Dominica earlier this week, although for a pretty sad occasion. People were just telling me that they do certainly enjoy the program, and thank you so much. Continue to send your thoughts. That's it then for another week of United Insurance's Line and Length. Looking forward to seeing you next week. I'm Barry Wilkinson and Andrew Seeley. We thank Mia Mottley for being earlier on the show, and Andrew Mason, of course, for allowing us to come in on his Mason and Guest program. Bye-bye for now.